Well, I think as long as Trump's popularity doesn't fall and Musk stays, I don't think Trump cares about Elon Musk's popularity one way or the other. It's only if it affects his popularity that he might start caring about that. I think as far as Trump is concerned, Elon Musk can be the bad guy here. He can be the heavy hand that goes in and does the dirty work because Elon Musk isn't elected to anything. He's not on a ballot in
Yeah.
2 years or 4 years. So in that way, he's kind of the perfect hatchet man to have because you can't run him out of town. You can't run him out of office. He's actually too rich to fail. Even if you want to litigate him, good luck going against the richest man in the world's resources to try to slow him down or stop him. You're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, but Kurt, Trump said Elon won't do anything without my approval. But we do know that Musk doesn't report to anybody in any regular, detailed way. I mean, according to sources who describe him as a lone ranger who's running very, very fast. Here's how Politico put it this morning. Musk and his engineers have implemented a hostile takeover of the entire government in a few short days and are burning through public contracts, staff, and entire agencies with unremitted glee. Who knows where it ends?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When it goes well and right, Trump will take credit because the buck stops with him. If it goes badly, he'll say, well, he went off the reservation. He actually didn't tell me he was going to do that, and that shouldn't happen, and we're going to make sure it doesn't again. It's kind of the perfect thing, again, the balancing act for Trump because Elon's going to do whatever he's going to do. And really, it's going to be incumbent upon Congress more than anything to provide some of that scrutiny, some of that oversight, some of that check and balance. I can assure you, the former Republican oversight staffer in me would tell you, if this were going on when Barack Obama was president, then Chairman Darrell Issa, committee members like Jim Jordan, Mick Mulvaney, Mark Meadows would have been the very first to call hearings, subpoenas, and find out what is this unelected person wielding this much authority really up to.
Rana, what do you make of the fact that even some Republican members of Congress are starting to get annoyed?
You know, I think the proof's going to be in the results. And I think the American people are waiting to watch and look and see if there are results. I think most Americans right now are waking up saying, I can't afford the cost of living. Life is unaffordable, insurance, the cost of eggs. And so they're looking at the government and saying, you know, it's fair that they should be cutting costs when I'm cutting costs in my own household. And if they're doing this to save taxpayer dollars, that's the right track. So I think it's so early, and I think there's a lot of news around it. But the proof is going to be, do we actually cut costs? Do we start make savings and making life better for the American people? That's what they want to see.
Rana, how long does he have? Because, you know, you were right. It's been, 17 days, 18 days? It feels like it's been much longer, but it's less than 3 weeks that Trump has been in office. And I'm sure, at some point people are going to say, okay, this is great, but why am I still paying so much at the grocery store? That was the number one issue that drove voters to elect him in November.
And that's where elections matter. We're already heading towards a midterm in 2026. We have a very slim majority in the House. We have 3 special elections coming up for House members that went into this administration. That is where you're going to see it, a Virginia governor's race. So if they don't start seeing changes and the cost of living go down and the things that they elected this administration to do, making differences meaningfully in their lives, they're going to hold us accountable at the ballot box.
Yeah, well, and just remember, too, Trump promised immediate action. On day one, inflation will drop. The cost of living will go down. Groceries will be cheaper. He set the expectation that all these things would happen literally overnight, was what he had said at all of his rallies. If that doesn't happen soon, he will be held politically accountable.
Yeah, just fact check here. It's been 17 days and they haven't gone down yet. Rana, no one can argue that President Trump wasn't ready for his second term. He had a plan. He's executed it with stunning speed. Were you surprised at all by this?
No, I wasn't. I was there 8 years ago when he came in. And remember, he was under investigation by his own party in Congress. They launched a Russia investigation. His own attorney general allowed the Mueller report to go forward, or the Mueller investigation to go forward. He was obstructed in so many ways from a Democrat Congress who wouldn't put his cabinet officials through and ambassadors through. So he came in ready. He learned a lot, and he said, I am not going to be stopped again. And he's been preparing for 4 years. He had a whole policy group on the side, creating policy and being ready to launch this day one. And I don't think it's ever going to stop. I said the other day, he is making news faster than people can report it. And I think we're going to have 4 years of that.
Yeah. Although, Kurt, I want to get your take on what Trump's former lawyer at the White House, Ty Cobb, had to say about all this. He told the Washington Post, quote, "It's a naked power grab consistent with what Trump's advisors persuaded him to do, which is flood the zone with as much unconstitutional activity as possible with the hope that they get away with some or all of it." Do you think that's what the strategy is?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually reminds me more of the Butch Cassidy sent his kid riderless horse scenario, where they sent out the riderless horse, everyone followed it, they got away on the other side. That's really what Donald Trump is doing, and that's the trap that Democrats have got to stop falling into over and over again. Stop chasing the riderless horse. You can't talk about everything all the time. It's not possible. Focus on the one or two things that actually matter to the American people, that hits them where they live. That's what you message. Ignore the rest. He's going to do it anyway. The courts will either stop it or not. It's kind of irrelevant what Democrats say about it. Focus on the stuff that really matters.
Kurt, to that point, we saw just in the last 2 days protests begin popping up. We saw last night the Democrats staging an all-nighter in the well of the Senate to try and drag things out and delay things as much as to be annoying. They're not going to actually stop any nominations, for example, from getting approved because they don't have the majority. But now they're being obstructionist. Is this going to work at all?
No, it's not going to work, because I can tell you, most people who are living in the real world, they're not following that stuff. They don't care about that stuff. They're not following the floor of the United States Senate or the House of Representatives, for that matter. I can tell you, as someone who's right now in Dallas, Texas, helping raise 2 kids, I didn't even know that happened last night until you just said it, because nobody in the real world's paying that much attention to it. Democrats have got to find a way to penetrate that bubble, get outside of the D.C. bubble in this way, and message to people like me who's focused more on trying to get the kids back from school, out of carpool, into soccer practice, getting dinner, doing homework, going to bed. That's the people you have to reach if you want to try to paint what's going on and how it affects real people.
All right.